Hi everyone. Okay, hi everyone. Yeah, I'm Alison from the Language Centre at the University of Bradford. I used to work for a pathway provider, and this is when I first discovered Thinglink, and at that time it was free. It's not now, but it is quite cheap, and you just pay a one-off fee, which I will explain as I go along. Although we've talked about it as being really good for VLEs and sharing links on VLEs, I've actually used it for more than that. So hopefully by the end of this session, you'll have an idea about how you can use it, a bit of the pedagogy behind it, and also a demonstration. And so hopefully at the end, you'll go away with an idea of have a go and try and have a play with it. So I will share my screen just to let you be aware that I have two screens going on. So share. You should all be able to see that. Yeah. Can everybody see the Thinglink there? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, just to let you know that screen is to the right of me, so I will be moving my head across, but I will be coming back to look at you. Okay, so this is a Thinglink, and essentially it is an image where I have embedded icons, and behind those icons there is some content. Now that content might be. I've got a lovely echo there going. That content might be videos, audio, PDF, images. I've even put a Google Slides presentation. You can put a PowerPoint presentation within that. So I will make a start. So first of all, if we click on number 1, this is me. Welcome to this webinar. And simply what this is just an image. I've just embedded an image behind that icon. Okay. So then if I go to number 2, so first of all, let's look at what it is. Well, it's essentially a visual learning resource. And the thing about it that's brilliant is it's absolutely multimodal. You can put so many different things behind these icons. The icons you can choose, so they can choose based on numbers or whatever. There's different icons for videos. There's quite a lot of icons you can choose from. You can also upload your own icons and use them, but behind that icon there will be some content, so the students just click on the icon and they have access to that content. Now the thing about technology for me is I absolutely love it, but it has to be quite simple for me to use, and Thinglink really is a really user-friendly tool, and I will demonstrate just how user-friendly it is. Okay, so it's this multimodal, if you like, interactive visual learning resource. But what is really good about it, and this is why I really like it, is it used to be you just used to put URLs to web pages, but now the fact that you can put PDFs, you can put images. The other really good thing is you can put audio in there as well. So you could actually put instructions in there for students as well. But the other great thing is that if you've got another tool that you use, that's say a word wall or an online quiz or a Padlet, those tools can also be included in your Thinglink. So essentially you can create one thing with all the resources a student needs, with actually some task in there as well, some writing tasks, some reading tasks, etc. Okay, so that was an image. So pricing, yes, Phil did mention at the beginning, very recently the pricing has increased. There used to be a teacher account that was free. Now there is a free account, but it's for, they call it marketing e-learning. So you could sign up for that. But the downside for that free account is everything you produce on that is private to you. So what's the point of that really? Because obviously you need to publish it to make it accessible to students. So, but I pay for this, and I only pay $60 a year. And I've paid for this regularly because I just think it's a really good tool, and it is quite flexible. So yeah, they have increased it relatively recently. It's now $60 a year, and I don't think it's a bad price for what it can do because of the learning potential. Okay, so that's the information. So okay, let's have a look at what it can do. So this is now a Google Slides that I've actually embedded in there. And the reason why I wanted to put it in as a Google Slides is because my animation works within a Google Slides rather than an image. So students can, one of the reasons why I think we should use images is because now they can be motivating, they can be engaging, but actually students are now really used to accessing information in all these different kinds of ways, and images is a vital way of getting them engaged. It is more engaging than a list of links. One of my things, I think for me personally, I think often when we like something ourselves, we try and use it with our students. And for me, I'm quite a visual person. I don't like a big long amount of text. I don't like long lists of things. So for me, this is really good. So it's more engaging. And images are an effective way of communication, and they are really useful because having icons on an image gives students that reinforcement of the thing you're trying to talk about. Okay, so it can help them see connections between the content you put in and the image itself at the back and the background, which can be a reminder to them of what it is we're talking about, or it can help them to remember. And then the other thing, obviously, they see that image and immediately you're activating the schemata for whatever that activity is, whatever that task is. So that's why I think it's a really good, useful tool. So this is just simply a presentation that I've published to the web. I've got a URL and a link, and I've just embedded it here. The other thing, and I'm going to now talk about contexts, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to actually show you that you can put audio in. So this little bit, it's not very long. I just recorded an audio just to show you. One great thing about Thinglink is its flexibility. Rather than just simply pasting links onto an LMS such as Canvas and doing it in a visual way, Thinglink can also be used for self-study resources for students to access in their own time. It's a brilliant tool for flipped learning. I know quite a few of us might be still doing online prep courses, and creating an activity before a lesson within a whole Thinglink is a really good way to create a flipped learning resource. I have actually used it for in class activities such as practicing scan reading, skim reading, and then afterwards getting the students to write something and placing it on a Padlet within a Thinglink. And also a class research task that students do outside the classroom and create something together as a result of their research. So this functionality I think is really useful because you could actually just put instructions. You can put the activity, and above that you can place the instructions as a recording so they can actually hear you for self-study or for flipped learning, for example. So the pedagogy, obviously it's good to use images. This is also another slide that I put in there, and again because I wanted to show the animations. So I think it relates really, I think it's a good example of how we redefine our tasks, our teaching tasks with the use of technology, how we can transform our teaching tasks with the use of technology. So I'm looking at the SAMIR model there by, I can never say this gentleman's name, Puentadora. I'm terrible for that, sorry. But it's the SAMIR model that actually with technology, what is the technology doing? Is it just substituting? Well, is it substituting a task that was there without that technology? Well, essentially, yes, if you put a long line of links, a list of links on a VLE, you're just putting them into a picture. So essentially, yes, Thinglink acts as a substitution. But it does actually augments that. Instead of just being a lot of links on a VLE, the fact that you've incorporated those audio and video and that multimedia content and those instructions that you can do and all the tools that can be embedded in it, that's all in one place. So that in itself has a greater functionality. It's easier for students to access rather than have I checked on this link, have I moved on this link. It's just easier. So it's greater functionality. And then of course, when we move into the modification, well, I think with this, the fact that you've got all those links within one place and And that allows us as teachers to focus on all the 4 skills. I mean, you could put a speaking task on there, you could put a listening task on there, reading, a writing task. They can all be incorporated in that Thinglink in various ways. So I think that's where we're getting into the transformation, the modification, where we're transforming what we can do, the task design, because of this technology. And then finally, the redefinition. Well, this is where we can then incorporate other web tools within the Thinglink, and then that allows us to make the task design even more complex, or focus on different skills again. So I think Thinglink is a good example of how using technology is a positive thing. But yes, it can be used just for substitution, but we can go through these steps of augmentation, modification, and redefinition. It does allow us to do that all in one place, so the students access, which I think for flipped learning and self-study tasks is really useful. So I just wanted to put this little one here, is because it's just a reminder to me to talk about the sharing and privacy. But actually what it is I wanted to show you that you can just put some text on there. You could put questions on there. You don't have to put a URL. You don't have to embed a video or audio. You could actually just write something. So you could write a list of 12 questions and just put them on a Thinglink if you wanted. That's what's so good about it. It's this flexibility, and that's why that's there. It's just simply to show you that it's just a text. You can just put a text there. Okay, so I want us to have a look at some examples of what we can put in it. So we've looked at sort of what it is. We've looked at the pedagogy, if you like, behind it. And now I want us to look at the kind of things we can put in it. So as you can see, I've got the different icons. Because the icons basically reflect on the content, if you like, link to the content. So clear, we've just got a video. I'm not going to play the video. I'm just showing you that you can just put a YouTube video in, a Vimeo video within Thinglink, so the students can access that at any time, and so it's all there. Obviously, we know that we can upload an audio because that's all within this Thinglink. I can just put a reading text in there, and this happens to be a blog on Thinglink. The reason why I've put everything about Thinglink on here is because when I share this in the chat box at the end, the whole link to the thing, you've got it and you can go in and learn more about Thinglink. So yeah, just you could do some scan reading, whatever within there. Get them to look at a website. So we've got the video. The other thing is you could get them to write something. So what this is, believe it or not, this is another Thinglink. Remember, as long as you've got a URL or an embedding code, which I'll show you, you can basically create a link to something within that Thinglink. This was a previous Thinglink about where I asked students to look at global tourism. I used this in my pathway course. So this was the task. So they had to discuss something together first. And then these were the activities. So they got videos about the economic impact on communities of global tourism, some reading videos again. So that was about tourism and employment. This is just simply a number of tourists visiting every single second throughout the year, throughout the world. And then again, another video. So it's basically to get them. And in that particular class, they got little headphones. So they actually did this entire lesson on their smartphones. It was scan reading, and it was listening and speaking. What they used the phones. And then at the end of the lesson, I got them to actually write something on a Padlet. And again, they did that on their phones. So those were the instructions on the Padlet. And first of all, they had to do a collocation race, and then they had to write a paragraph about what they'd seen, what are the positive and negative effects of global tourism. But it was all there in one place, and they actually did it using their smartphones. So I have used it in class before. So that's what's so good. You can incorporate so many things within it. But this one is actually a quiz. I don't know if any of you have heard of a tool called WordWall. WordWall is a really good tool. Again, it's about someone's put the thinkers up. It's not expensive. I think it's about £60 a year, but it's just great. So within that, you've got a task, and then you can make that full screen if you want to, but it's all within that Thinglink. Okay, so that's a demonstration, if you like, and an explanation of what it does. So let's have a look at actually how we create one. So I'm going to go into my dashboard, if you like. I've got quite a few there used over the years. So I'm going to create a new one. So I simply go to create. And then, as you can see, it isn't just an image you can use. Once you've paid for the account for £60 a year, you can put a floor plan. I did, I think I sent out with the information, it was a hospital room and lots of information about a hospital room. So it can actually, if you're doing a pathway on engineering, health or something like that, you could put a picture of the body and information reading task about that. You could put a timeline, image up there and then put information on the dates that you want to. So whatever you put behind it is really, you know, a key thing. So you can start with a blank canvas. So I start with images, all mine are images, but actually you can do it with videos as well. You can actually do a video as well. So I'm going to go to image and I'm going to upload an image from my computer. And I've got one that I looked at yesterday. Let's go there, here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something for academic listening now. Okay, so there's my ear. I press continue. Okay, and essentially this is your editing place now. That's your image and you just start putting things on. So I'm going to add a tag and I'm going to make this about academic listening. So simply add a tag. Now I'm just going to reduce the size on this so we can look at the options at the size. So you've got add text and media, which is great because it gives you the option to put the media and the text in one place. Add a text label, so that's great for just questions or a little bit of information that you type yourself. Add content from a website, that is when you've got the embed code, which I will actually show you. And then you can even create a poll if you want, which you can do. It's really simple to do. So what I'm going to do is, can you see it's already added to text? So I'm going to just cancel that for a minute. I'm going to add a tag, and what happens is the tag always comes to the middle. So this is the tag label. This, because I've clicked on add text label, this always comes to the middle. Okay. So, okay, let me add a tag. Hang on 1 minute. I'm just gonna go back to, let me just create again. Image, upload. Yeah. Okay, let's try again. I'll continue. So let's go to there. Okay, right. So I'm going to go to the first one. Now, can you see you can change the icon? So you've got lots of different options of icons if you want to. So I'm just going to go to that one. I'm going to go done. Okay. Oh no, it's gone up. I'm going to go to that one. Okay. So now here, this is where you put in a mix of the text and the URL here. Okay. But what I want you to notice is these here, this little button, this is where the upload button, that's where I was able to upload those PDFs. So you could put a PDF up there. You can upload a PDF up there. And also, remember when I put the slides with the animations, that's because I had a URL. So in Google Slides, I published my Google slide to the web and I got a URL. So here you've got your title, skills. You can put a description if you want. Now the button URL is you can actually place a URL there if you want the students to actually look at the URL if you want it showing. So I've gone to this actual academic listening. This is a set of resources from UCL. So I'm going to copy. It's about lectures. So I'm going to go back to my editing and I'm going to just paste the URL button there. Okay, so now I'm going to press done, and that's there. So that's my first one. And if students click on that, it'll take them to that set of lectures that they can go to. So that's how you can do that one. I'm going to add another, so then you have to press done. That's done. Okay, and then I'm going to add another tag. And this time I'm going to add content from a website. Okay, and this is where you have a URL from a website or an embed code. So I'm going to go to that again. And this isn't the text and the media, this is just the link itself. The other one was just text. So I'm going to go to that one again. I'm going to copy it, Control C. I'm going to go to edit, and then I'm going to put in the embed code or URL, Control V, and I'm going to press done. So essentially, one of them is done with text, and then behind that text, there's the web page. Or I've not bothered with the text, I've gone straight to the web page just by there, and they just simply click on that and it takes them to the web page. But actually they don't need to, they can just look at everything within that, like that, within there. So you can do it in two different ways. So let's press done. So I'm going to add another tag, and this time can you see I'm going to add a label. So here it's asking me what to put. Please access these resources. Okay, and then I'm going to press done. So when they click on that one, remember that it always goes to the middle. So if you think it's not there, it's in the middle, and then you move it around. Okay, so please access these resources. So that's a label tag. Okay, so that's how you create one. And you know what I said about I love TEL and I love technology, but they have to be quite simple tools. This is quite a simple tool just to show you this, but can you see there's a settings button? Really, there's no need to even really worry about these. It's just these. Can you see the flashing animations? So it's just doing that. You can disable that if you want. This allows you to upload audio. This is where you upload your audio in the settings there. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So that's basically the creation of one. Okay, so then when you create it, so let's say it's done, and now I'm going to share it. And this is where it matters about your settings. Let me just check it was, that's the one, that's the most recent. Yes, that's the one. Okay, so can you see at the top here, you've got two things. You've got the edit button, so you can go back and change it if you want to, but you've got the share button. Now, I just want to show you more actions. This is the thing that matters. Can you see where it says privacy settings? So in the more actions, it's privacy settings. This is important. Okay, so these privacy settings are important in order for your students to see that Thinglink and to interact with that Thinglink. It's got to be published in some way. But the one I use is unlisted. If you click on unlisted, that means it's open and it's available, but people can't search on the web. Now, yesterday I did a search on the web of the SAMIA model. And I did a search Thinglink SAMIA model, and I found lots of examples of people that have created Thinglinks on the SAMIA model because they've done theirs as public, anyone can see. But I don't, I do mine as unlisted. If it's unlisted, your students can see it how you want them to see it, but nobody else can. So I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to share. Now you've got different options of sharing. Now the one I'm going to show you is the one that seems a little bit more complicated, but actually once you know what you're doing, it isn't. Obviously, you can share a link. So on your VLE or in your classroom, you can put a link on your screen, on your whiteboard or whatever, or you could put a link on your VLE. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to embed it on my VLE. So I'm going to do the embed, and it gives me this code. This is an iframe, is essentially the iframe, anything within iframe, all those things in it, that's the thing that then is translated and embedded onto a website or a VLE. So I'm going to copy that. Okay, and then I'm going to go to one of my Canvas pages, which is my VLE. And as you can see on this page, I've actually already put one, but now I'm going to put another one underneath. Okay, so I'm going to show you. So and now obviously I know that this is Canvas and you don't all have the same VLEs, but the principle is the same. Okay, so go to edit. Now, in order, remember that I'm sharing this with an embed code. So now how do I put that embed code on there? So what I need to do is here, I've got my little embed code in my editor. So I'll click on the embed code, and can you see, essentially, you've got these iframes. So now I'm going to copy and paste that. Okay, that is now the embed code for this Thinglink. So the Thinglink should show. Okay, I'm going to show you because I want to show you something in particular. So I'm going to save that. So now we've got the Thinglink that I had before, and we should have, yeah, the great big huge one. And I could click on that. Now, clearly, that's too big. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it smaller. And this is where a little bit of information about embed codes is useful. So I'm going to go back to the editing button at the top. And I'm going to go back to the embed code. Can you see here? So here, we've got the size, width and height there. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to reduce it down. So I'm going to make the width, I'm going to make that 750, and I'm going to make the height, it's the height that's too big, and I'm going to make that about 900. Okay, so I've amended that myself. I'm going to save. So hopefully now it should have made it smaller. So let's have a look. Yes, it has, it's made it small. Okay, so if we go back, and oh no, I'll tell you what, I'll open this up. Can you see this is now on my Canvas page? So if I publish this page, students will be able to see it, and they can then access the information within there. Okay, so that's it within a VLE. That's what it looks like within the VLE. So let me go back. I hope that you found that useful. Let me make it a bit bigger. There we go. That's essentially Thinglink. And like I say, once you look at it and spend not very long, really, it is really quite simple. It really is that it's just literally, as long as you've got a URL or an iframe is the embed code, you can put whatever you want on there. But the great thing about it now is you can upload audio. So you can put instructions, you can put comments, but then you can put these other things in it that you get them to do some work with, as you know, Padlet, Wordwall, whatever, within the H5P, within the Thinglink, because you will have iframes for those. So essentially, Phil, I think we're done really. That's Thinglink. I am going to put in the chat box, after we've had the question and answers, I am going to put a little Padlet. So I'll click on this to show you. Your feedback matters. So I'll copy this into the chat box in a moment. And then I would really like to get some feedback from you guys about what you think about the tool, whether you think it's really useful. So you just click on there. So I'll put that into the chat box in a bit, but I'll wait until anybody's got any questions. Are we okay, Phil? Yeah.
So far, there was only one question.
Sorry, Dean, sorry.
Raised. Oops. Can you hear that okay?
Yes, I can, yes.
Okay, but you actually answered it during your presentation. Just now, Judy wrote, have you experienced any technical issues using Thinglink on a VLE?
On a VLE, no. I think the main thing is that sizing thing, really, because dependent on the size of the image you upload, depends on the size of the image it then puts onto the VLE. But to be honest with you, as long as you can go into that code and just change the size there, that's the best way of doing it on the VLE. Thinglink will give you an iframe, and that will be based on the image size you put on there. Okay, and obviously if you're putting an image on there, it's really important that you check what it looks like yourself, because if it's a tiny little image, that's not going to be any use to the students. So you're going to have to check the size of the image when you put it on there. You just simply upload it and then have a look at it and then see the size of it that way. But yes, when you're putting it on your VLE, it's that size. If it's too small on your VLE, again, you just increase that size within that HTML thread of code. And to be honest, once I found out how you could do that, I was like, wow, okay, that can do that. That's not too bad. I always thought it was like ridiculously complicated, but actually, once you know what you're looking for and you just make those little changes, it's not too bad at all. But yes, within the VLE, I've had no problems at all.
Excellent. Okay, so the next question comes from Susan, and she's asking, do you know if it is accessible in China or not?
Oh, now that's a good one. I thought it was, but I find sometimes with tools from China, you think it is, and then they suddenly change it. So actually, that's a really good question. I think what might happen is that the Thinglink might be accessible, but if you put a YouTube video on the Thinglink, that might not be accessible. So yeah, that's a really good question. But obviously, if it's on a VLE, and it's a VLE within your university, then Chinese students at your university are going to be able to access it, no problem. But that's a really good question, actually, because I know when it comes to online preps, we have to think about, right, well, we can't use YouTube videos. What do we do? Yeah. But you could use them in class. Like I say, if you use it in class, then, you know, that wouldn't be a problem necessarily.
Katie is asking what feedback you've had, if any, from students on Thinglink and what their reaction has been.
I think the one that I can comment on the most is that when I was at the pathway provider, the students had to evaluate about 6 or 7 texts, and this was a particular one on globalization. So I put a big map on there and I put all the texts, and I think within a few months, within a few weeks of the actual assessment, it had thousands and thousands of views. And that just said a lot to me that they were able to access it all in one place. And of course, they do just go in and out of it. Now, the thing is, with this account, this £60 a year, there is a limit to the number of views, but it is a really, really big limit. You're talking about thousands. So you don't have to worry. And then if it goes over the limit, all that happens is that Thinglink put an overlay over the top so when people access it, they can see that it's a Thinglink that you've created. So yes, I have had positive feedback. They really like that rather than, and teachers, when I've given it to teachers to share with students, to say, well, that's really good, because you know, if I give them a list of links, they've got to find that link, they've got to find that list, whereas it's just there. And also it's a reminder, the fact that it was a world map, it was able that they know it's a globalization task. So yeah, I've had positive feedback. Good question.
The next question is about how accessible it is, whether or not you can assign alt text to icons, for instance.
That is a really brilliant question, and I'm going to show you something. Let me go back to my original Thinglink. So let's close this down. I'm going to go and edit it. What it has something called an immersive reader in there. That's standard. So I'm not sure I can do it from one that I've already created. No, but if I go to my tool, I think I might have turned it off. But if I go into my tool and create one, you can you, oh, hang on, let's do that. Share. You've got, was it privacy settings? There was a button there that it said accessibility, but also what is good within it is there's an immersive reader. So students can just click on that and they can hear the content as well. And it's on the screen in big letters, and it is an immersive reader, which I actually think for a tool like this, I actually think that's quite impressive, really, that it's standard. So yeah, that is a really good question. And it's probably one of the better tools for that kind of accessibility issues. Yeah.
Okay, so Judy has another question. She's wondering if it works okay on other devices like a mobile phone.
Well, like I say, the one I did on tourism, global tourism, I literally, what I did is, rather than giving them Thinglink, I gave them a Padlet. And the Thinglink was, like I said with this, you can put other things into the Thinglink, or the other good thing is you can put the Thinglink into other things. So I created a Padlet for the lesson, and on that was the instructions on the Padlet post, and above it was the Thinglink. So they literally used their phones, clicked on the links within the Padlet, went to them, went back to the Padlet and did the task that they needed to do. Yes, so I found that it worked absolutely fine because they did some fine academic writing using the mobile phones with the Thinglink within Padlet. So you can do it either way. The other thing about it that's quite new is that now PowerPoint, I've got it's got an embedded thing. When you share it, you can actually, so if I press share, you can actually, can you see it says insert in PowerPoint? So you could do a presentation in class and you could say, right, now guys, I'm going to show you this. So you might show a human body and bits of bone structure or something. So you can actually insert it into other things. So as well as you being able to insert things in the Thinglink can be inserted in other things as well. But yes, I've done it in a Padlet and you've done everything within that Padlet on smartphones. Yeah.
So the next question was from Narinder, asking if you can talk a little bit about whether you can track usage by your students.
That's a good question. And the honest answer is I'm not entirely sure. I think the usage I can track is how many views. So I can't really track. And if I go to the settings, so let's go to this one. I think the tracking, if you put it on a VLE, you can see how many people have, you can see the reports from your VLE and tracking that way on your VLE. But in terms of the tracking of the tool within it, I'm pretty sure there's not, no. And that's actually a good question. Unless somebody else is, I'm aware, I don't know about that, if I'm honest. But certainly within the VLE, you've got your VLE settings that allow you to see how many people have viewed it and been on that page, but that isn't always that helpful, is it?
I was just, sorry to interject, I was just
No,
thinking, Alison, when you were saying that, so would it, basically you've got your, if you're using it to link to parts of your VLE that are already tracking students' activities, then presumably you set it up on the VLE and then use your Thinglink as your overarching sort of navigation tool.
Yeah, because in that Thinglink, for example, there's nothing to stop you, but as long as you've got a page, you can put something in there. So for example, I could add a tag and in fact, actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a tag and I'm going to go to my page and I'm going to copy that page from my VLE. And then I'm going to go back to it and I'm going to add text and media and I'm going to just put in that URL. Okay, and I'm going to press done. So now within that, you've also got, it takes you back to that other page on the VLE. So actually, you could have put something on your VLE before, and then you can access it that way. And yes, you will have tracking of those VLE pages with your VLE. Yeah, but I don't think there's any settings that show me any tracking. And that's a really good question. That's something that I haven't seen on Thinglink at all. But I do sometimes get a message saying how many views. I did have a message with the one on globalization saying it had actually reached my limit, and it was a massive limit. So it just showed you how many students were actually accessing it, because of course they don't have to access it all at the same time. Okay.
Evangelina is asking if you could talk a little bit about the difference between Thinglink and Padlet. She's not sure what the benefits of Thinglink might be, given that both seem to be able to offer the idea of being able to embed different tools, etc.
Okay, that's a really good question. Essentially, for me, I think it's the image. Because we've got the Thinglink here, it's that image, you know, and everyone now sees that that's what this is about. It's Thinglink, it's the ability to include those other tools. Absolutely right, you can do that on Padlet, but you don't have that image. And I think that image can often be a reinforcing thing. It can be a memory aid. And also, this is what this is designed for. Okay, this is what this is designed for. Whereas Padlet, if we go to the Padlet, which is here, Padlet essentially is designed to create a digital post. You know, that it is actually designed. Yes, they've now amended it, and now you can put lots of links in there. So if I go to that box, I can add in all these different links, but they are essentially associated with what the what the post is for. So I suppose really it's what they were designed for. Yeah, and Padlet wasn't really designed for that purpose. That doesn't mean to say you can't use it for that purpose, absolutely. But it wasn't really designed for this image interactivity. I think if you're thinking about something like English for specific purposes, so if you're doing something on healthcare, you're doing a foundation course for medical student, English for medicine kind of students, then an image like that is a learning tool as well. So the human body, then you put a link with, say, you know, the trachea, the bones in the face, you put a link giving information about that specific thing. So I think the difference is essentially is that Thinglink, the image itself is a learning tool. For example, you can put in a tour. So you could put in a 360 picture of, say, the campus of Bradford campus, and then students could go and look at all the different places. You could put links in there to cafes, reading images about the library. So the actual image becomes a learning tool itself, whereas with Padlet, it's not quite the same thing. Has that helped?
I think so. So there's quite a bit of conversation about the different ways that students can be tracked in Thinglink that's going on. So thank you to everybody who's kind of piping up and giving their own ideas on how to track statistics and such. There's also some others that have used the tool that are offering some suggestions for different activities.
Brilliant.
Susan asks, did you say it will also do polls?
There is a polling tool in there, yes. Let me go back to my Thinglink. It's quite simple, so I'll show you how it works. If we go to edit, I'm going to add the tag, a new tag, and can you see there's a create a poll, and you simply put the question. So is Thinglink useful? I'm just doing really quickly. Useful, and then I just simply put yes and no. And it's there. Now I haven't used this tool for polls because the polling function is quite a new polling function is quite a new functionality. But yes, again, that'd be interesting to know how students actually, how do we see the results of those things? That would be an interesting thing to see. So I don't quite know. So let's see if we can go to done. Let's done. Let's see. So can we see that it's actually, I presume as students click it. I don't know if I don't think that will be telling you how many students, but at least you can see, I think as a teacher, you will see that number changing based on, you know, your needs sort of thing, really. Okay, I'm going to, if I can see we're getting a bit short, time is an issue. So I'm going to just, if that's okay, I'm just going to put this post in the chat box. I've put the Padlet link. So I would be very interested to hear your feedback. And guys, great if you've got some uses, but you're absolutely right. Someone in the chat box said it is a lot more complicated than just an image. If you want a 360 image or a video, you can stop a video. So you can give them a video and you can place a link. You can put an icon and a question. It's a video. I've done that before now. So I've just shown you the basic with an image, but a video, they can play a video and then suddenly it'll stop and there's a question and the answer to that question or whatever. So you can use it in a lot more ways. It's just, this is the basics of the image sharing, just to let you get a feel for it, really. Okay.
Well, thank you, Alice.